riders, welcome to The Flow. It is that brand new first edition of 2023, aka the Big Trey. We are back. We are in action. And yes, Paul, no one sees your mouth on the podcast. That is my favorite line of 2023 so far. It's only, day 3? So let's get out there. I am your podcast host, Doc Rock, community manager, Ecamm, with my awesome co-host, Katie. What's up, Kates?
Hey, I'm so excited to be hanging out here. And huge thank you to everyone that put up with me solo hosting with special guests while Doc was in Japan. So I was saying to Doc, we did it. We survived. Nothing went like crazy wrong, and it was a lot of fun. So not that I ever want you to leave again, Doc, but I'm really proud of myself. I held it down. I held it together.
It's different, right? It's so different. Did the show with Jared when you were gone, and Jared's awesome. Jared's my dude, right? I love Jared to death, but it's different. It's not the same as when we do it. So, hey, don't hit me, Jared. It's just Katie.
It was good. It was all good. And I will take credit for today's topic, which is going to send Doc into spirals because we're talking about podcast resolutions, and Doc's first resolution is that there should be no resolutions. But we already have an episode called Podcast Planning, which is really what this is. So whether or not you want to call it a resolution or you want to call it just a plan for this year, I just thought it would be fun for us to live talk while you are either live watching or replay watching or listening later next week when this episode drops on all of the podcast platforms. What are our plans for the flow this year? And we will live brainstorm and plan it, and then we'll take all these ideas and we'll roll with them
and run. All right, so
exactly.
First things first, not to sound like a jerk, but I don't care if I sound like a jerk. I'm a very factual person, not pedantic to a fault, but I'm just a factual person. I don't like fluffy stuff that doesn't math. I don't like things that don't math. I'm a Virgo, right? Like, okay, if you want to give it some fluffy, I'll give you Virgo. I don't even believe in half of that crap. But it doesn't math to me because what happens is, first of all, Fulgens nailed it yesterday. My podcast resolutions are 4K and 8K. Fulgens absolutely nailed it yesterday. The reason why I don't like resolutions is, number one, it requires you to wait until January 1st to make a positive action or change in your life, which is just silly. These numbers are purely arbitrary. Let's run it all the way back, Gregorian people. The calendar is freaking arbitrary. But at the end of the day, those numbers on that square boxes don't matter. What matters is that you're doing stuff and you're moving forward and you're making it happen. So if you decide someday in February that you're going to do this and you just start then, that is, to me, is amazing. If you decide on, say, February 10th, you're going to start something on March 1st, what the hell are you waiting 2 weeks for? What is that extra 2 weeks going to give you? If it's preparedness and getting better, that's fine. If you're just putting it off so you can have some arbitrary date, you kind of like setting yourself up for the first original hurdle, right? So like I told my whole crew, we're not going to wait until the new year to get ready to plan the new year. We started in November. So that way we get to January 1 at full speed running as opposed to starting cold in January 1st. So this is why I hate resolutions, because it builds unnecessary arbitrary blocks. And the kind of people that need to make resolutions, and let's be purely factual about this, the kind of people that need to make resolutions, you already have a block, because those of us that don't make them, we don't have those blocks. We just run and hit the wall, back up, hit it again. So I say remove the blocks. That'll be your first step to actually winning a resolution, is getting rid of these weird blocks that you put up for yourself. So that's why.
Amen.
I don't mean to sound goofy about it, but it's what it is.
Well, this particular title of today's podcast and the general topic, regardless of whether or not we believe in it or want to do it, actually plays into one of the things that I would like to get better at this year for the podcast, which is podcast titles and descriptions and just general SEO. And so while I was thinking through what we wanted to talk about today, really I wanted to talk about what the plan was for this year, what things we have on the horizon, just be able to kind of brainstorm live, because I know that many of you are thinking through, now that we have a new year, what are the things that you want to do with your podcast? Maybe this is the year you actually want to start a podcast. Maybe this is the year you want to add video on. So thinking it through, and again, we have an episode already called Podcast Planning. So I was like, okay, well, people are looking for or thinking through topics.
It makes sense for the SEO.
Yeah.
100%. It makes sense for the SEO.
I will say, That is definitely a huge push for us this year, is really going through even, past YouTube videos and doing a lot of that cleanup, because YouTube as a platform has changed really dramatically over the last year and will continue to change dramatically this year. So going back and just really making sure that, we use TubeBuddy right now and a couple of other tools, but, with TubeBuddy, you can see like on a video that you've uploaded or a previously live video, what your percentage out of 100 is for how SEO rich or SEO friendly your video is. So like any of those ones that are sitting below like 70 or 80%, I definitely want to go back and say like, hey, what happened here? Is it the topic of the video? Is it something that we're missing in the keywords? How can we really clean that up? And specifically for the flow, I think is going to be huge as we think through just, like what, how are we talking about it? What are the words we're using? What are the topics that we're covering?
You know what I think is awesome? I think it's awesome that we have these shows and a lot of the shows connect and complement with each other. So for instance, yesterday on ENN, on NFJ, they were going on and they were talking about some of the stuff that's happening with ChatGPT and GPT-3 and some of these other AI complemented tools. I'm going to do what in the industry we call a callback, but instead of a callback to our own show, I'm going to do a callback to ENN yesterday, when one of the things that Anna brought up, and it was very insightful, she says, I'm just curious as to what people are going to be able to do with this and how they can use it to make it work. Now, naturally, whenever any new technology comes out, there's all of the people that are just running around scared, like, oh, Chat GPT is going to help students cheat. No, it's not. Let's just get away from that. What that means is that you're a teacher and you don't want to do the work to learn how to teach different, because they said the same thing when we got calculators. They said the same things when we got computers. They said the same thing when we got iPhones, iPads, all of the above. And you know what? Students don't cheat anymore. Let's run this back and be factual. If your students need to cheat, you're a horrible teacher. Because if you're a good teacher, they got the information and they don't need to cheat.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to take the response for that. So it's easier to say that it's going to make people cheap. Anyway, off my soapbox. What this is going to allow you to do, if you run your titles and descriptions through an AI situation like Jasper or ChatGPT, in this particular case, Jasper would be better, you will get better SEO. Here's the reason why. They both pull from a knowledge base of the data that already existed on the internet at the time. So unless you're talking about something so topical that it's past June of 2021, letting that generate the description and title for you, or take your title and description, throw it and say improve it, for a fact that information is being pulled from the internet, so therefore it already exists, so therefore it will align SEO tighter than if you just pull it out of the wonderful mind of yourself. That is one of the cheat codes. If you want to learn nothing else about this program because you're scared of it, whatever, put your fear in the closet and just search how to do better SEO using AI. That will fix. And as a matter of fact, vidIQ actually gives you AI descriptions and AI title enhancements. So you put in your basics and you hit a button and it will run it through a version of ChatGPT that they have installed and sort of give you better title and better descriptions, because it reads the whole YouTube. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of which, so that obviously relates directly to how we want to be able to kind of improve our discoverability and just accessibility on YouTube. But similarly, like I think we also could do a better job, or I would like to dive a little bit deeper on going through our show notes in Captivate and making sure, because in Captivate, there is a section, as you know, Doc, but for anyone that doesn't use this tool or similar tools, there's a section for our transcript, which is super helpful. It's filled with all the incredible things Doc says, but it also has a show notes section where we could do a better job of doing things like, helpful links, information on, the guests we bring on. So right now we're just duplicating that from, whatever our description was on YouTube, which is fine, but I think we could do, a better job of adding in more additional resources, or maybe once the episode, we've already recorded the episode, maybe we go back into that afterwards and add in anything that, is additional helpful information we talked about. Like in this case, Doc mentioned Jasper. So maybe we want to go back and say like, hey, you want to learn more about Jasper? Here's the additional tool. So I think really thinking that through or building that into our process better is going to help this podcast continue to grow and continue to be helpful and relevant to people. And I think is a really important way to spend our time this year is to really, make sure that that all of the amazing content we're creating, whether it's this show or other shows, are discoverable by really doubling down on those amazing tools that are out there and on the basics of SEO and marketing that we should be doing anyway, but are really easy to ignore when you're like, copy paste or template or like doing it last minute because we forgot or all the other reasons that pop up.
I did mark this because I think it's a good one. Resolution 1, dive deeper into Captivate for us. But I think I put a parenthetical on there that says, if you're someone else and you're using a different tool that you have used, like Ecamm, I know because you guys come to the demo and ask stuff that you should have known from day one. Yeah, if you've been half using a piece of software for a long time and getting away with it, let's stop getting away with it. Let's spend some time this year to dig deeper. And so I posted on LinkedIn yesterday. LinkedIn is in my resolution 1 sentence, if you have to give it that terminology. For me, it's LinkedIn because I've been like, just like running by, giving it a quick peck on the cheek and running home real fast before her daddy came home for a long time. So for me, it's LinkedIn. And I posted on LinkedIn the other day, when I was doing interview with Sally and then vice versa, being interviewed at her show, she told us last year that last year was going to be her year for Ecamm. Sally spent every waking minute that she had extra from her business, and she runs an incredible business, fam. She was learning deeper and deeper and deeper about Ecamm. She spent an entire year making sure she got better at Ecamm because it was going to help her move the needle on the other tools. I think what a lot of us do is we all buy these tools and then we kind of half use them. If another person say to me, I got a Rodecaster Pro and I only half use it, I'm like, that's not something you should ever admit. That's like admitting that you secretly fart in the back of the elevator. Like, don't admit that. Fix that. Like, seriously, you can admit it to yourself, but you shouldn't be proud of buying expensive tools and half using them, because I will definitely judge you.
And put your money where your mouth is. So Doc, he is absolutely right. He has been spending more time there. And I feel like for us last year, for us as a business, last year, we were really, focused on growing and fostering our community on Discord, and we'll definitely continue doing that. We were also really focused on getting more content up in a more relevant way on Instagram, and we saw really huge, results from that. Like, I completely agree. I think, being able to spend your time on the tools and in the places that matter most and really understanding them is hugely important. And I would say, put together and think through your plan, but be able to connect those dots. So from my side, what we could do better again here for this specific podcast is we started a few months back really using my time in Descript, where I'm pulling the transcript, to also create shorter video clips. And so, Caleb's been putting those out across different places, but I think really doubling down on that and being able to pull out, a lot more of these like amazing tips now that we have 22 episodes, we have more of that stuff. We could be able to put those clips as, in a ton of different spaces. As you said, maybe, better collaboration between all of the shows that Ecamm has as well. So there's, I think, opportunities as we're, as you're diving deeper on LinkedIn and as we're, trying to get better at, a few of these key platforms, figuring out how to pull that story through, right? So it's the same content that you're carrying across all the different platforms.
You just gave me another really good idea. So one of the things that we should possibly do, not possibly, we should do it, period.
We should do, yeah. We're going to build our to-do list off of this episode, so throw it in here.
Right? So somebody, Paul or Eden or one of y'all is taking notes and giving us what our to-do list is after this. I think that we should definitely use Amy. This is a Captivate feature. If you don't have Captivate, I'm sorry for you. You got to figure this out on your own. Captivate does this, so we're gravy. We need to use Amy better to promote the other shows that we have. Yes, we have an amazing sponsor in Speedify, and I like keeping those as live reads. But that doesn't mean with Amy, we can't do a post roll that says, make sure you're checking out NFJ on ENN, or make sure you're coming to the demo, or you're coming in to Leap in. I can't tell you right now because Katie might hit me, but we got some joints coming up. Y'all here saucy, fam. It's so saucy. This year's Leap is going to be dope. I have to stop snitching. Let me stop snitching. I don't want to be like Ken and snitch. So don't tell Ken I said that. Is he sitting there? Anyway, so
No, he's not.
I think we should definitely use Amy, Amy for
Yeah.
people who don't use Captivate. It's a way to input advertisements or promotional things into your podcast auto mechanically. And what I mean by that
Yeah.
is you basically upload the WAV file or the MP3 file for that's going to be your reader, your liner, and it will automatically place it in places where you set markers. So we can do a post roll, a pre roll, we can do a mid roll. We can even put slots in where we know right before we break into Q&A, it would automatically throw in an ad, right? It's a really wonderful tool, and I don't know if your platform has it, but our platform does. So switch to Captivate because it's really handy. We used it perfectly for the sale for Cyber Weekend, and then we should dive deeper into that. Also, I think another thing in going back to one is that we should work with using the guest sheet and the research note sheets and Captivate a little deeper, because then that automatically helps the show notes happen better. So reality is we just got to dig deeper into Captivate.
Exactly. And not that we don't do like planning for this show, but I think forcing ourselves to kind of build out a guide that we can all see will also help us. Because right now we do have obviously a flow for the show. So we have like our our kind of live sections where we're doing housekeeping and welcome and just chatting and banter. And then we go into the actual show itself, which usually, not today, but usually is split into three main questions. And then we have our live Q&A at the end. But we don't have in that flow, like, as you said, the, pauses where we can, say, hey, we'll be right back. We're going to go to this ad break. And we could do something like that if we did want to add in and be able to, feature other shows or upcoming events that Ecamm is doing or places that we're at. And we do have all of those things. So I think I completely agree. I think having a structure that's outlined will help keep us on point and will also help make the show notes better and will also help us leverage Amy and other tools better. So a win all the way around to be able to just have that document. And I know that people like Jeff and Grace, who run Social Media News Live, which is a show that we partner with. They have a really great, template for that. So we certainly have some tools we can build out to be able to use and share for sure.
All right. I think topically, I would like to see us, that's something that you and Luis and I talked about a little bit yesterday. I would like to see us do multi-part deep dives into a particular thing. As you know, this month I'm diving into just getting better with interviews, right? My class starts on Saturday. I got a bunch of folks signed up, and we're going to be just working on helping people become better hosts. Like I heard you when I was in Japan. I was listening to you on the last week's show, not the one that came out today, but prior.
The interview with Matt, or when I forced my best friend Matt to join us.
Your friend. You had your homegirl. She was really good, by the way. And you made a statement of, well, I'm not as good as pulling these off the top of my head or whatever. And that's something that you just get from doing more. So I think that'll be cool to deep dive into maybe how to get better at pulling these nuggets out or doing. So some of that stuff will be covered in interview class. And then, we can take that and turn that into a show. But digging deeper into things like that, digging deeper into, say, audio editing, if you don't have an editor, like how to use compression, how to use EQ. Yes, Auphonic will fix a bunch of stuff, but it's also better if you start it with a good thing. You know what I mean? The better stuff you throw at Auphonic, the better it sounds comes out. Like, why is Doc always screaming about -16 LUFS, aka loudness under full scale, aka K rated? And why do I need to know such a complicated thing? Because you do. Every one of us, especially if you watch A&E, have had this situation, Annie. I just want to punch you in the face so hard. The show is like, okay, and then when we talk about this, and then Thomas Jefferson came around, and then we go to the commercial. You feel depressed? Take this medicine, and it's just loud. The level between the show and the depression medication, it jumps up like 7 decibels, and it's obnoxious. It's super obnoxious. Annie is the one station that does it religiously. Most of the other ones have had it, sort of figured out. If you think I'm joking, you can watch Annie today and you will hear it instantly.
Oh, yeah. It also happens with a lot of podcasts where if they're part of like a network and the network is placing ads for them, they're always like, and we'll be right back after the break. And then the ad that the network is placing is like obsessively louder or quieter than the show. And you're like, wait, no, down, up.
Buy another Paul Duncan mattress because Paul Duncan mattresses let you sleep. Why does every podcast sell mattresses? I just want to know. Like really? Was every podcast sells freaking mattresses and bras?
Not just mattresses. Mattresses, bras, underwear, socks, lots of clothes, pretty clothes heavy. Websites, so Squarespace. There's like probably like 10 podcast advertisers that are like the go-to advertisers for big podcasts. It's kind of hilarious. And I have to admit, I was like, I don't think podcast advertising works. And then I like look around my house and I'm like, oh, yep, does.
I ain't gonna lie. I bought some MeUndies. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I have MeUndies. I have HelloFresh. I have the Bombas socks.
If HelloFresh shipped to Hawaii, I'd be there because when we did that taco kit that one night, that was so much fun. Like I loved it. Right? I wish HelloFresh was shipped to Hawaii, but they don't. Jared is putting in the facts. -16 loudness under full scale for podcast. -23 for video. Actually, YouTube still prefers -16 as well. So I published my YouTube videos for 16 and let them adjust down. But yeah, Netflix and a lot of the broadcast television places want a -23. Athletic Greens is for sure. That's another one. They're all over the place. Man, if I have to think about Athletic Greens, I'm telling you what. Anyway, okay.
That's one that I have no interest in buying, so I'm not worried about that.
Me neither.
I agree, though. I think like audio is a good subtopic. Interviewing, I think, is a good subtopic. Advertising or sponsorships is a good. But if there's any that we're not thinking of, and you're listening right now or here in the live chat with us, drop it into the chat. Send us an email, flow@ecamm.com, or swing over to the Volley, VOLLEY is Volley, and you can certainly ask a video question. That's another one that is high on my list. I'm trying to convince you all that the more interactive, I would love to add into this show like a Flow Rider question of the week where, at the end of the show, we have a video question that pops up and we're able to chat it back and forth on a particular topic. I think it would be really fun for everyone. So if you have one, now is the time. I feel like we need to collect probably about 5 or 10 of them before we'd feel comfortable launching it as a segment. But it would be great to get some just general podcasting questions. So if you have some or want to share like a pro tip, maybe it's one or the other, but it'd be fun.
You just gave me an idea. Okay.
We need a idea.
First of all, I want to give you, okay, Jared made a comment, and I normally we don't do comments in the show, but I'm gonna do this comment in the show because it kind of works along with my idea. And I know that Jared can pull it off because Jared's a video guy, so don't be mad that he's just good at this. Okay, it says, I do have a story about sponsorship. Okay, Jared, so here's going to be my thing. If you have a pro tip, a story, a win, or something of that nature about podcasting that you would like to share, send us that video clip. Make sure that it's properly audioed, properly lit, properly done. If it passes my muster for quality, we will loop it in the show. And I'm going to be hard ass about the quality because it's our show. I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to be a phalange about it. Sorry. But it's our show. So like, I do expect a certain amount of lighting and audio capability. And if it doesn't pass it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't send it anyway. Maybe I'll just repeat it for you and give you the promotion and the link in the show notes and the things that will help you. But this goes on to the thinking of promoting your own show, this sort of pod swap, whatever. So I know that Jared and the Hive Podcast, if you send us a clip and it's like, okay, I have this story about my win with Ecamm and podcasting, or I have this win about podcasting, or I met this sponsor and this is what happened. More than happy to run those in the show as like a clip of the week from the fan base. TV shows do this all the time. And the other thing I was going to give you props on, Katie, talk about having your co-hosts together. My question I was about to ask you, and we kind of like overstepped each other for a second, was what would you want to hear next? And you actually hit that anyway. That's another prime example of when you work with your co-host enough, you kind of understand what's going to happen. So Katie knows I'm going to say something stupid. And then she followed my next point without me having to tell her. So these things are factual. I told you, I'm a factual person.
I do love that you and I are both Virgo, but you are like much more like factual whatever, and I'm much fluffier. Like we are like the opposite sides of the Virgo.
That's because you're
coin.
close to those Leo people. That's why you're on the very edge, like you slid in the back door.
I'm at the very end of August, so yeah. But yeah,
you got some of that lion crap leaking on you.
the perfect balance. I'm the perfect balance, Doc. Awesome. Well, what else have we missed? I think those were my major ones. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was on my list of what we didn't cover.
Luis said, and I thought it was crazy because he out his mind because he's the one that got it edited. But Luis said we should run more guests. And I'm like, all right, you're the one that's got it edited, ding dong. Why would you do that to yourself? But he crazy. So what can we do?
I do like the idea of doing more guests, and I think the best place to do that is in those like deeper dive mini series. Like it would be cool, and maybe this is like over the top as a structure, but let's talk it through. It would be really cool if we had like a special guest on. Let's say we have Mark on from Captivate. Okay, so we're talking about Captivate. We're talking about that specifically. It would be really cool to have Mark come on, do like a deep dive episode all on that, and then do like a mini video only workshop so that, you know, he could go like, we could deep dive into it and actually show what the software is. And it's only video. So it's the audio people get like the interview, the in-depth, etc. But then there's a call to action for this like flow workshop or offshoot that is, you know, more hands-on video only, where people can really do a deep dive into the software, or into audio is another one. We did an audio workshop last year. You know, maybe it's like, okay, we're gonna have this guest on, we're gonna do the high level with the guest audio, and then we're gonna deep dive either with the guest or just by ourselves. But I think it might be kind of a fun structure that lets us play kind of back and forth between video and audio, and really lets us do a deeper dive that's really actionable or hands-on.
You know what? I think we could also do a really dope 1-day Releap where we just reiterate stuff that happened from Leap into podcasting and double check to see where people are, give them another bump if they're, you know, coming down.
Oh, yeah.
If they're coming down. Only Luis would get that joke.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Those guys, yeah.
I think a Releap is like somewhere would be just dope, right? And we could plan it. So that was September. So if we wrap around like 6 months, it'll be coming up kind of quick, but it'll be just a thing. Maybe it's a couple of hours, but it'll be really dope to do a Releap and just check and make sure everybody's doing good and catch up, you know, have a little hangout. We can hang out inside Ultra Live or something, or Discord, and just, you know, have a conversation and let people have a two-way, you know, because the chance of putting together a flow event in a short amount of time is really difficult, but having everybody come together and go through some specifics and things like that would be good. One other one that I would like to see, and rather than me yelling at you, this is something that we could pull in like a Jared or a Tom or somebody, is come in and talk about like, you know, basic camera settings.
Yeah. Luis and I were talking about that before you joined.
My camera's dialed in, but I spend a lot of time dialing it in. And yesterday, Gregorius hit me up and he's like, yo, man, what kind of filter are you using? Because everybody thinks that you're using some Instagram filter. No, people, I use actual glass filter. Hello, I'm a photographer. So you buy real glass filters like tink, tink, tink. You don't put some software that's just going to muck up your whole system. It's a legit glass filter, less than $100. You screw it onto your lens and game over. And so things like that, those little pro tips would come off good. So if we did a focus on video quality, for most people, your video quality is coming from your lighting. And everybody wants to blame the Camlink or Ecamm or their computer. It's your lighting. 9 times out of 10, it's your lighting. So it'd be cool to have somebody like Jared or Tom or whatever come in, and maybe it's a couple different guys with different approaches, or a couple different females, because there are things I'm not going to think about. I don't have hair, so I don't think about some of that stuff y'all think about, right? So it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's so funny. Luis and I were talking about it before the episode went live, that I think, yeah, it's so much of live streaming and video podcasts and video production is like basic photography 101. It's like where to position your camera, 3-point lighting, like how to look into a camera, and like all of that kind of stuff that if you don't come from that background or you've never had that training, that's where most, if not all of your questions are stemming from. And so, yeah, I think covering some of those just like basics, like not even so much the specifics of a specific camera, but just like how to set up your space so that your lighting looks good, or your basic videography or photography steps as far as what you need to take to get a good shot.
It's funny because I see a lot of videos, I hear talks about it, I've given talks about it, about, quote unquote camera confidence. And maybe I'm just a weirdo. I've never thought of a camera as needing confidence. I never put that level of thought into standing in an airplane at 18,000 feet and looking at the ground and deciding to jump out. That's confidence. But just looking at a piece of metal like 28 inches away from my face, the thought never even crossed my mind, right? Like, so I think there's even something to talk about, like the things that we've already told ourselves are a problem that are not necessarily problems, but we just made it up and therefore we made it bigger. So we amplify it every time we tell somebody, here's a course on how to get better and confident on camera. You're amplifying a problem that's not a real problem. So let's just be a better speaker, and that covers everything, whether there's a camera there or a person sitting across the table at lunch. And yeah, so I think we could even get into some of that stuff, because that's something that you said when you mentioned to your friend about being better at extemporaneous, just like pulling this nugget out or saying this or saying that. A lot of that comes from just getting better at talking to people. And if you gave Katie the opportunity to stay in the house with a blanket and the book, she ain't seeing none of y'all.
Introvert. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying, right? So maybe we can even work on some of that. Where are some good opportunities to go and get better at just conversating with people so that you are a better conversationalist, right? Especially if you spend a lot of time not being one.
Yeah. It's a really good point.
Dang, this is good. This is good. That was a brainstorm session live on the podcast. Never thought of that one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I love it. I'm filled with ideas.
All right, so here's what I say. Anybody that has any ideas, people, and this podcast means nothing without you. Let's just get this through the heads of everyone listening, watching live. You didn't catch the live show, that's your fault. We're here every Tuesday at 12. Come through. It's open door. Like, just come through. We really would love to have you because it's a lot of fun. And sometimes we break the fourth wall and talk to the comments when we're not supposed to. But I find that part is epic. And also, we couldn't do this show without you. And so please don't be shy. If you have a question, please ask it. We're not going to make trouble to you, to the best of my ability. We're going to give you the answer. We're here so much that we want to help you so much, because I know everybody who's ever bitten the podcast apple, it gets you. Like, if you take a little nib at it, okay, maybe it doesn't catch you, right? But if you bite it, you're just like, oh man, I'm in there. Now I want to make more. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to help people understand about your business, your product, things of the above. So by all means, if you have a suggestion or you want to send in some of those clips, so Jared, you're on the hook for that story. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it to you. Please, by all means, flow@ecamm.com. Please reach out, because we would love to have a lot more of your stuff thrown into the show, because this is all for you, right? If it was up to Katie, she wouldn't have to talk to me this much. So don't like talking on the phone.
Weirdly enough, I like this format way better than, like, if my phone rings, I am definitely the person that just like stares at it and goes like, maybe it'll just stop ringing because I don't want to answer. Like, texting, no problem. Emailing, no problem. Slack, no problem. Talking on the phone, like, there's no end date. There's no end time to it. It could go on for forever, and that's very scary for me.
Okay, Katie and I are both true crime lovers. Katie, you want to see something bananas? Go on to Netflix today and look at Don't Pick Up the Phone.
Oh, all right.
It is purely psychotic.
See you all later. I'm going to be binge watching TV.
It don't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all, but it's true and it happened. And I didn't even know this happened. And it's around in the time frame where I should have probably known, but it's psychotic. Anyway, so yes, people, please send us that information. And if anything you want to see us do, by all means, like, this show is about you. So throw your feedback. You can throw feedback in volley. You can hit us up in the email. You can hit us up on the iTunes podcast review section, which is very important. And then We also got to send a big shout out to Speedify because they really do help us out a lot. I always talk about it from the aspect of saving your internet if you're doing a live stream or recording a podcast, whatever, like protecting you from a failure. But when I was traveling, I was in Japan, and of course, there's all kinds of things happening in the world of round football. And let's say Manchester United was trying to play a game, and they're like, "You can't watch this because you're not in the United States of America." And I went, "Ha ha, Speedify, Los Angeles. Hey, look, I'm in America, NBC. Check this out." And the NBC is like, "Oh, here you go. Here's a Manchester United game." I was like, "Ha ha, suckers." So Speedify does so many things besides what we talk about. Even if you're not using it for your podcast and your live stream stuff, there'll be occasions where you're traveling and you want to protect things. It works. Even during the time I was gone, it's the end of the year, I had, some financial things I needed to do. I know I was safe on the hotel Wi-Fi with Speedify engaged because it's a VPN. It allowed me to go in and pay my Apple Card. Thank you, Mac Studio. Yeah, so you can just do that stuff and not worry about it. So big ups to Speedify for being an awesome sponsor of this show. And thank you guys for just being the dopest flow riders there ever could be. We really, really appreciate you.
Absolutely. And we just spent the last 30 to 45 minutes talking about all kinds of amazing ideas. But again, we would love to hear yours. So if there's something that we're missing or there's something you want us to go through the process to see how it works before you try it yourself, that is literally the point of the show. So if there's something out there, we would absolutely love to hear you. And yeah, send in those ideas, send in those suggestions. What can we do? What do you want to know more about this year? We are here to make the resolutions for you. We will resolve to try it out for you.
There you go, Flow Riders. We'll see y'all in the next episode. We're going to slide in the Q&A real quick. I appreciate y'all. And remember, your resolution for New Year's is 4K.
4K. Boom, boom, boom.